At the Pentagon and in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, he then spent about 2 hours sharing some private moments at the World Trade Center site with some of those who lost loved ones. Mr. Bush will address the nation 1 hour from now in Ellis Island. ABC's Ann Compton is live in New York with more. Ann?
After such an intense day of grief, Paul, President Bush seems determined on refocusing the nation on the challenges ahead, coming to terms, he will call it, with the fact the U.S. is now a country at war and that America is not invulnerable. His speech tonight is short, the setting symbolic, Ellis Island just offshore from Lower Manhattan. The Statue of Liberty is the president's backdrop. Paul?
ABC's Ann Compton live in New York City. A ceremony has just wrapped up in Battery Park in Lower Manhattan, not far from where the Twin Towers stood. New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg.
The memories of those we lost will burn with unending brightness and ignite a flame of freedom that lights the world.
You're listening to ABC News.
This year, the government's going to give out over $350 billion to people like you who want to start a business, go back to school, or train for a new job. I'm Matthew Lesko, and I've written over 70 books on government programs. You've probably seen me all over the television shows, on talk shows. My new program shows you 15,000 government sources, where you can get like $100,000 to open up a coffee shop, $15,000 to write a book, or $30,000 to become a French chef, $9,000 to take a computer course, or $15,000 to finish college, get a GED, or a PhD. There's money to travel overseas, train your employees, or work on your invention. I've done all the work. You just have to make the call. Call toll-free 877-ASK-LESCO, and you'll get my book and 6-hour audio tape program for only 2 payments of $29.95 plus $7.50 postage and handling. There's a 90-day money-back guarantee. Call toll-free 877-ASK-LESCO or 1-877-275-5375.
U.S. patrols over the skies of Los Angeles. ABC's Stephen Tubbs is live in L.A.
Paul, Blackhawk helicopters have been patrolling the skies over the L.A. basin all day, watching for suspicious small planes or other aircraft. At Los Angeles International Airport,
I think I'm more scared of the flying itself than being September 11th.
That woman on her way to Chicago today, a first-time flyer. The number of passengers and flights at LAX lighter than normal, a heavy police presence there. One other item, the Olympic torch has been lit once again and is burning right now on the top of the LA Coliseum, paying tribute to those who died 1 year ago, 3,000 miles away. Live in Los Angeles, Stephen Tubbs, ABC News.
Gustav is now a hurricane and appears headed for Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, New Brunswick, and parts of Newfoundland. Severe tropical storm has been pounding Hong Kong. Many businesses closed today, and September 11th observances there had to be canceled. Severe flooding in southeastern France has left thousands of acres of vineyards underwater. Hall of Fame quarterback Johnny Unitas is dead. He died of a heart attack in Baltimore today at the age of 69. Kim Hunter, who won an Oscar for her role as Stella in A Streetcar Named Desire, has died in New York at the age of 79. Wall Street, the Dow down 21 points. This is ABC News.
Do you feel like your debt problems are beyond help? Now there's a nonprofit organization that can help you reduce your monthly payments as much as 50%. It's called Ameridebt. Ameridebt can help reduce or even eliminate your interest rates, and they'll consolidate your bills into one lower monthly payment. If you have more than $2,000 in debt, call Ameridebt now for a free debt consultation. Not available in all states. Call 1-888-525-4440. That's 1-888-525-4440.
The Taiwanese community invites you to join them this Saturday for the Taiwan Salutes Festival in Washington Square Park and a concert at Lincoln Center to pay homage to the victims and heroes of September 11th. As part of the festival, a 300-person delegation from Taiwan has arrived in town to show support for New York City and for U.S. anti-terrorism efforts. Events will begin in Washington Square Park with a prayer service for world peace. The rest of the day will focus on celebration of Taiwanese culture. Enjoy traditional Taiwanese food and music, dance performances by Aboriginal, Hakka, and children's groups, films, art, and photography displays about Taiwan. In the evening at Lincoln Center's Alice Tully Hall, the renowned Formosa Youth Symphony Orchestra and Chorus will perform a special tribute concert including the works of Brahms, Shostakovich, and Strauss. Washington Square Park events will run from 11 a.m. till 5 p.m. The Lincoln Center concert will take place between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. So join them this Saturday as Taiwan salutes New York City. For information, call 212-557-5122.
15-minute call could save you 50% or more on car insurance. Call 1-800-947-AUTO. Geico Direct, the sensible alternative.
The #1 AM radio station in Morris County. #1 for news. #1 for talk. News Talk Radio 77 WABC.
The Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion advised.
America's fastest growing, nationally syndicated radio talk show, The Savage Nation. Here is Michael Savage.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the Savage Nation. This will not be a mawkish, sentimental journey on the Savage Nation. I will not give you the verbal equivalent of flowers and teddy bears. I will not talk about healing and forgiveness and closure. It will be about anger and rage. And instead of stacks of flowers and teddy bears, I believe the government ought to order more C4 and neutrons. A year after December 7th, 1941, when America was attacked at Pearl Harbor, there were no teddy bears. There was no call for closure and healing and kumbaya. America was filled with anger and rage. And ladies and gentlemen, unless we get some anger ready and some rage ready, unless we understand that 9/11 was not a tragedy but a massacre, that it was not an event but a war, I am afraid that we're going to miss the mark and possibly lose the war or extend it well beyond the time it should take to knock out these evil Arab Muslims who, if you don't know, I will remind you, on September 11, 2001, 19 Arab Muslims hijacked 4 jetliners in your country. They cut the throats of women in front of children. And they brutally stabbed to death other passengers on those planes. They took control of those planes and they crashed them into the World Trade Center and into the Pentagon. They killed fathers and sons and grandparents and daughters and friends and coaches and good public servants and children's mothers. And yet what we have today is the mawkish, sentimental journey of Dianne Feinstein, Hillary Rotten Clinton, who has the audacity to take that harridan actor, Robert De Niro, whose movie is flopping, and make an event out of it. More Rudolph Giuliani than I can take, to be honest with you. I had enough of Rudolph Giuliani. It's enough with Rudolph Giuliani. It's enough of requiems, and it's enough of bagpipes. It's all wrong. It's all wrong. America is going the wrong way. We've become a mawkish, sentimental nation. A year after World War II began with the attack on Pearl Harbor, the front pages of our newspapers had news of war, battles raging, photographs that reminded you of what had happened, photographs of brave sailors and airmen and soldiers. We saw real heroes, not the Hollywood variety. America was marshaled for war. But today, we don't have anger and rage. We have healing and forgiveness. We have closure. We have the Marin County hugs across America, with the behinds out as far as they can go to show no sexual connotation whatsoever. We have flowers and teddy bears. We have everything but what we need to marshal the American people, thanks, of course, to the 4th or 5th columns within. And ladies and gentlemen, there's no better way for me to begin this show than by beginning with some sound of that day on 9/11. Again, I want you to listen very carefully to the actual recordings inside the airplanes. David, play cut number 2 on the Savage Nation, will you please? Okay, we'll do that in a little while. My crack staff is apparently not ready for 911. I think they still think it's the doldrums of summer. So once again, we'll have to go back to another point. Let's take a caller. Albuquerque, New Mexico. Scott, you're on the Savage Nation.
Yeah, hey, let's cut the pleasantries here. You guys are talking that we're weak in America. You guys are saying that we're looking just for healing and...
Excuse me, Scott. I'm not you guys. I have a name. My name is Michael Savage, and I'm not you guys. So let's start again.
I'm hearing a lot of people say the same thing. We're looking for pleasant...
Well, let's start again. I don't care who else you're hearing. My name is Michael Savage. I'm not part of you guys. I don't belong to an organization that you may think is putting the message out. Okay, let's start again. What exactly is your statement, please?
My statement is, there's a man out there right now who says these exact words. I will not quote his name because I was told not to. It's not our job to forgive. Somebody said, hey, should we forgive these people? He said, it is not our job to forgive. Our job is just to make the appointment. So,
you know, I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't any idea what you're talking about. What are you saying?
We're not wimps, guy. We're not sitting back just trying to forgive. There's no way in God's green earth we're ready to sit back and forgive. We're going to show up and show them guys who God is. Because, you know, they...
All right, have a nice day. Well, we're not ready to forgive? Oh, really? Why don't we listen instead to a senator, the United States Senator by the name of Patrick Leahy, who today talked not about anger, not about getting even, but about opening the borders to more immigrants. Go play Senator Patrick Leahy when you're ready. I don't know when you'll be ready on that one, but the minute you're ready with it, just signal me. We can play that one. Go ahead, play it. Let's hear what the great senator from Vermont had to say today.
Later this afternoon, in my home state of Vermont, the chief judge of the federal district court will have an immigration ceremony. I can't think of anything more fitting. We'll have memorials and other events throughout the state of Vermont today, just as we will in all other states, because if there is anything that speaks to the resiliency of this nation, the greatness of this nation, it's welcoming in new immigrants, saying our borders are not sealed, our borders are open, we want to continue the people who made this country great.
Let's stop right there. Of course, it was immigrants who destroyed us on September 11th. There are 9 to 15 million illegal aliens sucking the lifeblood out of this country, and that is why you must never vote for a Democrat again. Although I have many problems with the quisling Republican Party, I must tell you that if there's only a shade of difference between the Republicans and the Democrats, that blink of an eye may be the difference between survival and death. I cannot take it anymore. Guys like Leahy are absolute quislings. Whether or not you accept it, it is the truth. And now, again, I want you to hear the actual sounds of the Arab Muslims cutting the throats of the women in front of children. And after they brutally stabbed to death others, these were the calls on that day, right now on the Savage Nation.
It's disintegrated instantly.
Listen to the calls of those passengers on the planes.
We're across the street from the towers. This is Tower. We have people trapped in the building on the first floor.
Think of the children on them told they were going to die. Think of the cruelty beyond our comprehension.
Tower 2 has had a major explosion and what appears to be a complete collapse surrounding the entire area.
As amongst the screams and the... full throttle...
We will be back in a moment. We have to go to a hard break. This is the Savage Nation.
New windows? You know you need them. Your energy bills are high, and your home isn't comfortable when your windows are drafty and noisy. So who can you count on for energy-efficient windows at a fair price? Sears Home Central. Just call 1-800-225-5991 for a free in-home consultation and estimate. Sears vinyl-framed windows glide smoothly, tilt in for easy cleaning, and are virtually maintenance-free. The multi-pane glass may help reduce your energy costs. Plus, you get a limited warranty that covers all materials. And Sears makes getting your new custom-fit windows easy and affordable. Just call 1-800-225-5991 for a free in-home estimate. Not available in all areas. Ask your representative for written warranty. Service and materials provided by a Sears authorized contractor. License numbers available on request. So replace your old windows. Call Sears now at 1-800-225-5991. That's 1-800-225-5991.
Hi, I'm Dr. Gordon. You probably heard me talk about Avacor, the revolutionary hair regrowth formula that has been successful for virtually everyone who's used it. Now, listen to what my patients have to say about this remarkable treatment.
I am 39 years old. I've been slowly balding over the last 10 years. Thanks to Avacor, my hair is coming back and I couldn't be more excited.
Avacor regrew my hair. I'd recommend it to any woman experiencing hair loss.
The best product that I've tried.
Avacor is the product of the 21st century.
Avacor has worked for tens of thousands of men and women. It's safe and effective. Let Avacor work to regrow your hair naturally.
Call 800-260-3993. Now you can use this remarkable treatment risk-free for 3 full months. We're confident it's going to work for you. Call 800-260-3993. That's 800-260-3993.
This fall on ABC, John Ritter and Katie Seagal are married with teenage daughters.
You're at the mall scamming for somebody better?
Did he just say scamming? He also says chill. Ew.
It's a brand new comedy about 2 daughters determined to grow up no matter how hard their dad tries to stop them.
Cupcake, I think you missed the word under in underwear because I can see your bra and that slingshot you're wearing under your pants.
It's a thong.
It's floss.
8 Simple Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter. A new comedy this Tuesday, 8/7 Central on ABC.
Doesn't it make you crazy to see supermoms on TV?
Kids, fresh-baked cookies. Oh, no! These size 2 jeans are too loose for my hips.
Oh, please. This fall on ABC, Bonnie Hunt has a new comedy that shows what a working mom's life is really like.
Mom, the bus is going to leave.
Okay, no shower. Just eat some toothpaste. Okay, I'm ready. Let's go.
Mom, I'm sick.
Honey, you can't be sick today. Tomorrow's better, okay?
Now that's reality television. Life with Bonnie, a super new comedy, Tuesdays this fall on ABC. 77 WABC.
Hi, we're here at one of the new tri-state area Boston Market restaurants talking to people about the new menu. Hello there, sir. Did you know Boston Market now has 15 ways to have chicken? Oh, your mouth's full? Well, that's all right, sweetie. You could just nod or blink. There you go. I see you're having the new grilled chicken. Well, now you can get the grilled chicken feast for just $15.99. You get 4 grilled chicken breasts, 3 large sides, 3 cornbread, and a family-sized brownie, all for just $15.99. So come to the new Boston Market. Limited time offers. See store for details.
For years, I've dreamed of owning my own business, but the startup cost held me back. Then I looked at Furniture Medic, a mobile on-site furniture repair and restoration franchise that's a subsidiary of ServiceMaster. The initial investment was low, and they provided extensive support, including financing. Also, Entrepreneur ranked Furniture Medic tops in its category. If you've ever imagined owning your own business, quit dreaming and call 1-800-RUN-YOURS today or visit their website, FurnitureMedicFranchise.com.
Some of New York's most famous, best-loved characters are pure fiction, and you'll have fun with them all in the new Daily News series, Big Town Classic Characters. You'll meet all the classic characters who've given us the joy, the laughter, the wackiness that defines the character and craziness of New York City. Come on, who's more New York than Archie Bunker, or Ralph Cramden and his sidekick Norton, or Fred and Ethel of I Love Lucy, or Tony and Muldoon of Car 54, Where Are You, or Molly Goldberg, or for that matter, Eloise of The Plaza. Those are just some of the 250 classic characters featured in the Daily News exclusive Big Town Classic Characters.
It's only in the Daily News, and it's brought to you with the cooperation of PC Richard & Son, the appliance electronic computer giant, Con Edison, On It, Sleepy's, the mattress professionals, New York Lottery, educating leaders of tomorrow, Long Island University, Brooklyn campus, come grow with us, Whites and Luxembourg, setting the standard in asbestos litigation, and Mazda, always the soul of a sports car.
Follow Big Town Classic Characters Sunday through Friday only in the Daily News.
WABC.
Remember.
Welcome back to the Savage Nation. Frankly, I can't wait until this day is over because the country's on the wrong track as far as I'm concerned. Healing, forgiveness, closure. This is not a media event. You understand? It's not a tragedy. These are all the wrong words. It was a massacre, and the results of it should not be talks about closure and hugging and teddy bears and healing and forgiveness and flowers. And unfortunately, we've been deballed. We've been emasculated. We've been feminized. The media is run by a bunch of ninnies. And the angry, frightened, and confused people don't know what to think, and so they're being shaped and formed like a bunch of clay. I can't wait to get back to regular programming. However, I feel it's my obligation for you to understand what actually happened on that day. I think you need to remember that it was Arab Muslims, 19 Arab Muslims, who cut the throats of women in front of children and brutally stabbed to death others before they smashed the planes into buildings, killing 3,000 of your fellow citizens. And I don't want you to be consumed by rage and hate and prejudice of the type that is expressed in the Arab Muslim world, because I don't want you to be consumed by the same rage and hate and prejudice that exists in the Arab Muslim world. But I want you to be a rational, clear American. I want you to understand that to protect your country and family in this hate-filled world, you need to know the difference between your world and the Arab Muslim terrorist world. And I think that we need to learn the difference between the true Arab Muslim Americans in this country and the Arab Muslims in this country who do not want this country to remain this country. Those who plot the next attack that will slaughter more women and children and grandfathers and teachers and daughters and sons. And I want to know where every Arab Muslim in this country stands today. And I think it's my right to demand that the Arab Muslims of this world be looked at in a different way than other Americans. And I think the Arab Muslim community needs more than James Zogby of the Arab American Institute, who constantly talks against any protective measures that we want to take. I think we need leadership within the Arab American community to step forward. And so, ladies and gentlemen, before we take your calls on the Savage Nation, again, I want you to listen to the clip where Ronald Reagan is heard and the calls of some of the people who died on the planes. Let's listen for a minute or two on the Savage Nation.
I love you. I'm in the World Trade Center. The building was hit by something. I don't know if I'm going to get out, but I love you very much. I hope I'll see you later. Bye.
Long before September 11th, it started.
Yesterday's acts of terrorism, which killed so many young American and French servicemen, were a horrifying reminder of the type of enemy that we face in many critical areas of the world today. Vicious, cowardly, and ruthless.
I just said I want to let you all know that I love you very, very much in case I don't see you again. That the plane has been taken over by hijackers. And then I said, well, we love you very much too, Mark.
We must not allow international criminals and thugs such as these to undermine the peace. The struggle for peace is indivisible. We cannot pick and choose where we will support freedom. We can only determine how. If it's lost in one place, all of us lose.
I was talking to her, my cell phone to her cell phone. She was with other people. They were scared. You could hear people running around.
Compare that with Senator Patrick Leahy, Democrat of Vermont, who today says he wants to celebrate open borders and more immigrants. It's unbelievable to me how screwed up the radical left is in this country. And something is wrong with this picture. I don't know about you. But when I heard that woman's voice, I grabbed the desk again, and something took hold of me, and something came over me. And it wasn't about closure, and it wasn't about healing, and it wasn't about forgiveness, and it wasn't about flowers, and it wasn't about teddy bears. San Francisco, Yvonne, you're on the Savage Nation.
I agree. Thank God. This whole thing, it just shows how numb people have become. And in the women I've talked to today, 50% of them are on their Prozac, this or that, weeping and crying. And if we have a society like that, we can't be vigilant, we can't be alert, and we can't be willing to fight back. And I'm so concerned that this apathy it's just horrendous. I can't stand it.
Don't you feel as though you're living among Stepford wives?
I feel like I'm living on another planet, like I'm walking through a time warp.
Yeah, you know, Yvonne, I had a lunch today in a restaurant in San Francisco alone. I was very close to screaming. I tell you the truth. I sat there the whole time, and no one talked about the events of 9/11. I couldn't take it. The silence with regard to what our country is living through overwhelmed me. I thought I would go deaf from the noise that I was hearing. The noise of ignorance, the noise of stupidity, the noise of self-satisfaction. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't wait until the meal was over.
Let me tell you something that really burned me up. I had lunch with this mother last week. She said, what are you going to do for September 11th? I said, I'm going to sit down with my kids, and we're going to go through what we're doing if an attack happens, where to go, who to call, where the supplies are. I said, what are you doing? She says, well, I got my little boy on Adderall because I'm afraid he's going to be upset. I mean, that's
oh, God. Oh, she's raising a complete and total robot. Look, Yvonne, it's a big problem out there. You and I aren't going to solve it. Here's a report just in on the Savage Nation from Salt Lake City. A fire at a Muslim-owned lodge, which was first declared to be a hate crime, turned out to be started by the owner, Mazar Tabesh. He was arrested today on suspicion of aggravated arson, according to Police Sergeant Jason Bradley. You see, Tabesh claimed that his Muslim-owned motel was set afire as a result of a hate crime, but the co-owner was accused of setting the blaze. Last summer, he said it was a hate crime, and the FBI sent an agent who specializes in civil rights cases to investigate. The Alpine Lodge Motel was owned by Tabesh and his father-in-law. At the time, he said, we are really scared because we are Muslim, probably the only Muslims in the area, and we are the target. He said the blaze started in a room rented by a man who paid cash, showed no ID, and was seen leaving with another man just after the fire started. He said he had been receiving threatening calls. He was released from jail today on $10,000 bail. A woman who answered the phone at the Alpine Lodge said the motel was closed and would not comment further. Tabesh is not likely to be charged formally this week because judges are away at a judicial conference. Oh, I guess the bags will be packed. 1-800-449-8255. Visit me online at michaelsavage.com. No flowers, no teddy bears, no closure, just the proper emotions, I guarantee it. Borders, language, culture are the three greatest words I have ever put together in my life. They will live long after I will.
Savage.
They're arresting people without charges. They're holding them without lawyers. I don't like
Michael Savage, weeknights at 8.
Now, you may say, oh, now you're a liberal. I don't care what you call me. I'm an independent, and I'm going to tell you what I'm feeling both subconsciously and consciously.
We went after this little bitty pinprick called Afghanistan, and there's this great big gaping wound called Indonesia.
Bachelor and Alexander at 10.
So when we think that we've taken care of the problem by obliterating the Taliban, we really haven't.
If you're talking about it, we're talking about it. News Talk Radio 77 WABC.
77 WABC.
It is the Savage Nation, growing rapidly across America. Obviously, I'm doing something that America likes. And I'll go with my instincts and tell you I'm not joining the teddy bear and candles and flower parade today on the Savage Nation. I just can't take it. I just can't take it anymore. I can't take this this mawkish, sentimental journey. I think it's inappropriate. I think it's not in touch with the feelings of Americans that I know. And frankly, I can't wait for it to be over already. So there it is. That's the show. Now, right now, on the Savage Nation, we go to a book that I love called Islam Unveiled by Robert Spencer. Disturbing questions about the world's fastest growing faith. Let us go to Robert Spencer immediately. Robert, welcome to the Savage Nation.
Thanks, Michael. I'm a big fan. It's an honor.
Well, that's a good start. I read your book. I really did, because I was amazed. First, let's start with the propaganda. Many of the Muslim pressure groups in America are saying that Americans are distorting the Quran. How would you answer that?
I would answer that I have never yet seen on the Council for American Islamic Relations website or anywhere else a presentation of Islam as a religion of peace or a condemnation of terrorism that actually deals with what the Koran really says. And because of...
Go on, sorry.
What's that? I just don't think that they're doing it. They say we're distorting the Koran when we say just what the Koran says, whereas they are not dealing with what the Koran says and are playing on the fact that most Americans are ignorant of what the Koran says to try to convince us that Islam actually is a religion of peace. But
okay, now, I want to say this. In your book, we certainly see the hate in the Quran. We see the hatred for the non-believer. We see the repression and hatred of women. We see the desire to conquer. We see the misogynistic Muslim polygamy and Islamic divorce laws. We understand that science and high culture basically died after the initial flourishing in the Islamic world. We understand there's virtually no human rights inside Islamic countries. We understand that many Muslims are told to try and take over secularized societies, particularly the weak, liberal, multicultural societies like our own. But I have to take, not the devil's advocate, because I never do that, Robert, but to be fair to the discussion, I am also a reader of the Old Testament, which happens to be filled with murder and death and killing and all of that other stuff. Certainly you wouldn't say that the Jewish religion is on the same. I mean, if you read the Old Testament, you can see the very same things there. Isn't it true?
yes, it is true, but it's a very important distinction that has to be made. The Christians and Jews, when they read the Old Testament, read it with two things in mind. First, it's unanimous and universal in Jewish and Christian tradition that the Bible is a historical document. Some parts of it are valid for all time, but some parts of it are not and have never been considered to be. It is a human document. It is inspired by God in the view of Jews and Christians, but it is also inspired through the minds and the perspectives of men of their time. So that St. Paul in the one of his letters, he says, I baptized this family and that family and nobody else. Oh, I did baptize somebody else, and I don't remember who else I baptized. Well, obviously, we can see from that kind of passage that it's very much Paul writing. In other words, not God, because God would know who Paul baptized.
But no, Robert, again, I'm not really disagreeing with what you have found in the Quran that's distasteful and hateful and frightening at all. However, again, as a student of the Old Testament in particular, you say that most Jewish people understand that it's a historic document. But what would you say of the religious Jewish people who do not see it as the words of man, but the words of God, and who take it literally and follow the 613 commandments? You could say they're extremists.
You don't follow.
Now, of course, it's not Jews who attacked us on 9/11. Let's be clear here. Nobody took the Bible and used that as a tool to attack the United States of America. But you have to understand, and I'm sure you do, that there are quite a number of people who believe the Old Testament is the Word of God, as there are quite a few people who believe that the Koran is the Word of Muhammad, but that perhaps the modern Islamic personality doesn't believe that.
It's very different, and this is why. Even the religious Jews don't follow the whole of the Old Testament. They can't possibly. In Exodus chapter 21, it says, when you want to sell your daughter into slavery, these are the guidelines you should follow. Now, find me any Jew who sold his daughter into slavery, and I'll grant you the point. But I think that what you...
Well, by the way, that would be a Jewish man whose daughter marries someone with less worth than he has. I'm joking.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to make a little levity here. And I understand the stoning of homosexuals and the stoning of adulterers is in the Old Testament, but certainly Jewish people don't do that, even the Orthodox. But how many Muslims really practice the extremism of the Quran that is wisely and carefully and scholastically pointed out in your book, Islam Unveiled? What percentage of the Islamic world does that, Robert?
I would say, you mean what percentage is extreme?
Yes.
Probably about 15%. And you would say, well, that's a low number, then what's the big deal? But this is the problem, Michael. The view of the Koran by ordinary Muslims is very different from the way Christians and Jews view the Bible. I was talking about the human element in the Bible and the fact that there are some things that are no longer considered valid in the Bible, even by the most super Orthodox Jews and Christians. However, the Koran is considered to be the words that Allah himself, God himself, dictated through the angel Gabriel to Muhammad. It's not what Muhammad wrote. It's God's words. And so they are eternal, perfect, irrevocable, and valid for all times and places. That means that the Muslim who believes the Koran and does not act these ways, act according to the violent verses in it, is always liable to be criticized by the extremists and say, we are the true Muslims, we're the ones doing what the book says, and the moderates have no response.
In America, there are about, 9 million people who, practice the Muslim faith. What percentage in America, let's put aside the rest of the world, what percentage in America would you say are believers like the Taliban who would like to cut women's throats and take over the country?
Oh, I don't think that it's a high percentage. The problem you have in America is that, just as in England, as we've seen with these Al-Qaeda demonstrations, a lot of this stuff is coming out of the mosques. That they go to the mosques on Friday, and this is the brand of Islam that the mullahs are preaching right now in the United States.
Okay, are you serious? Right now in the United States, mullahs are preaching revolution and takeover and Islamicize the country. Are they preaching that?
I mean, obviously not every one, but we would be naive in the extreme to say that it's not happening. Certainly it's happening.
Well, I know in England they openly said today that their goal is to take over England. They've openly said that they're going to flood the country with more Muslims. They're going to outbreed the British, which isn't too difficult to do. And then they're going to Islamicize Britain. Now, I remember the early teachings in America. It said that anyone who preaches the overthrow of the government is practicing an illegal act. Isn't that true?
Well, the problem is that you have the religion of tolerance running up against these common sense dictates that are more historically based. How can we not tolerate these people, even when they say they're going to cut our throats? And
yeah, well, I've said, you know how many times I've said on the Savage Nation that ultra tolerance is killing us. But if you look at today's celebrations, it's enough to make you wonder, isn't it, Robert? The flowers, the candles, the teddy bears, the hugging, the singing. There's no anger. There's no rage. There's no remembrance of the fact of what really happened, about the fact that on September 11th, 19 Arab Muslims hijacked airplanes, that they cut the throats of women in front of children and brutally stabbed to death others. That has absolutely been expunged from the day, hasn't it?
Yeah, how much weeping and sentimentality was there on December 7th, 1942?
I wouldn't know. I doubt very much.
Doubt very much.
What do you, when I come back with your book, which I recommend highly, Islam Unveiled by Robert Spencer, I want to speak with you about the Crusades, both Christian and the current Muslim crusade to take over the world, which we will get to right here on the Savage Nation.
Hi, my name is Matthew. I'm the only one in my class who can read, and I'm just in preschool.
Our son wanted to read, and with Frontline Phonics, he absolutely flew. It worked, and he is now at the top of his class.
Hi, I'm John Land, president of Frontline Phonics. I know that Frontline Phonics will work for you, because it did for my family. All 3 of my own children learned to read by age 4. If you have a child who wants to start reading, or if you want to give them a head start, then I have a free video that can show you how when you call 1-800-YES-READ. With Frontline Phonics, you can expect your child to be reading her first book all by herself in just 3.5 weeks. We guarantee it for your money back. Pick up the phone and call 1-800-YES-READ, and we'll give you a free video that shows you how other families have had success with Frontline Phonics. Call 1-800-YES-READ. That's 1-800-YES-READ.
Said, pardon me, mister, but do you recall the man in this picture? Have you seen him at all? He kissed us goodbye the other day. Then he left for his job down near Old Broadway. Who helped poke out the door, but where they were standing, well, it just isn't there anymore.
been home by now. A 9/11 musical sympathy card on CD by Rick and Gwen Shorter. Available at some Tower record stores or on the web at adayinseptember.net. That's adayinseptember.net. Or call 1-800-823-0481. That's 1-800-823-0481.
Saks Fifth Avenue needs your help. We join the Council of Fashion Designers of America to fight breast cancer, and we need you. From September 18th to the 21st, a portion of all sales from all Saks Fifth Avenue stores will be donated to Fashion Targets Breast Cancer. The funds you help raise will go to national and local breast cancer charities. So join our sponsors, Mercedes-Benz USA and Continental Airlines, to support this important event by shopping at Saks. For more information, call 888-771-2323.
And now, a WABC fitness feature with Gloria Aberbush.
If you bleach your teeth continually, you won't get a sense of the real color and you risk going too white. Prevent this by taking a break after beginning an at-home treatment. Take a week-long hiatus from your treatments after 4 weeks or as soon as you notice a major change, says one dental expert. Teeth get dehydrated as you're whitening them, so you can't see the actual color until the teeth rehydrate. Once your teeth are 3 or 4 shades lighter, stop the treatments. Check an old photo of yourself to help judge the change in shade. Get fit for the Pontiac 5th Avenue Mile on Saturday, September 28th. There are 1-mile races down the avenue for all ages and paces. To sign up, contact the New York Roadrunners, headquartered in Manhattan. I'm Gloria Aberbush with a fitness feature, brought to you by the New York Roadrunners and News Talk Radio 77 WABC.
Take some Curtis. Your 24/7 Kubi. News and Talk and Gambling. Giant and Rush. News Talk Radio. And Hannity.
77 WABC.
Mix in some Malsberg and Bay.
USA.
Michael Savage. And Bachelor and Alexander. And what have you got?
Your 24/7
News and Talk.
Giant.
News Talk Radio.
77 WABC.
New York City.
USA.
They're big. They're bad.
Side formation behind Testaverde.
And they're green.
Handoff. Lamont Jordan off left tackle. Into the end zone. Touchdown.
The New York Jets are back.
This is Bob Wischusen. Catch Marty Lyons and me for New York Jets football all season long on the flagship station for Jets football.
And listen Monday morning to Curtis and Kubi to win Jets tickets. The Jets are here.
On the flagship station for Jets football.
77.
Throwing the bomb deep sideline left. A jump ball and it's on.
WABC.
WABC.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. Ooh.
12 minutes to the hour on the Savage Nation. No flowers, no candles, no healing, no closure. Just a little wisdom, if you don't mind. We're talking about a book called Islam Unveiled, written by Robert Spencer, who is back with us on the Savage Nation. Robert, welcome back. In your chapter, The Crusades, Christian and Muslim, you show about the bloodshed on both sides. And it's a very interesting book. What I didn't know, of course, to be honest with you, is that most of the Muslim lands that we assume were always Muslim were in fact originally Christian lands. We're talking about lands that we assume were Muslim from the beginning, and I don't want to relive all of history. Now, although Islam originated in Arabia in the 7th century, most people don't know that at that time Egypt, Libya, North Africa had been Christian. So were Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, and Asia Minor. Most Americans don't know that. Maybe we need a little bit of history. But they don't know that it was Muhammad and his Muslim armies that converted the Christians. It was either convert to Islam, pay the poll tax, or die. Isn't that more or less the truth?
Muhammad said this: I have been commanded to fight against people till they testify to the fact that there is no God but Allah, and believe in me that I am the messenger from the Lord and in all that I have brought. When they do it, their blood and riches are guaranteed protection on my behalf. In other words, their blood and riches are not guaranteed any protection until they become Muslims.
Is that why Islam is the fastest growing religion on earth? How would you explain the rapid growth of Islam? Are they doing it by a crusade of blood, or is it some other means?
Certainly in Africa, there is some of that. You see in Nigeria all the stories about the imposition of the Sharia, and these poor women who are being accused of adultery and sentenced to death by stoning, when in fact they've been raped. You do have force and intimidation and threats. However, in the West, Islam is spreading fast because I think, well, in the first place, the people who are spreading it are not telling the whole truth about it. And in the second place, it's attractive to people because it is definite, it is certain, it is reverential. It's not any more of this weary relativist mishmash that is just coating the United States these days.
Well, I see a lot of people who are basically on the lower rungs of society suddenly putting on white robes and acting saintly. Does that have anything to do with it? A sense of immediate cleanliness? Do you think that's part?
Black Muslims, of course, and even blacks who become genuine Muslims and not the Farrakhan variety, there's a great sense that they're returning to their ancestral religion. Of course, not told them is the fact that Muslims in Africa were among the most energetic and successful slavers in all history.
That's something I will always not understand, which is how people of African descent in America can ever identify in such a positive manner with those who sold them into slavery. I mean, but that's a whole separate issue. The question is, George Bush said the magic word, which brought down the duck. He said the word on September 16, 2001. He said, this crusade, this war on terrorism is going to take a while. And bingo, the red diaper doper babies in the media went crazy. But don't they understand that there's been a Muslim and Christian crusade sequence, and that we're now going through the Muslim phase of the battle? Is this, in essence, just the old battle all over again of West versus East, Christianity versus Islam?
Well, I think from their point of view, it certainly is. And the fact is that there hasn't been a Christian crusade since the 13th century, and I doubt that there ever will be again. The Christian theology behind the Crusades has been thoroughly repudiated by all branches of Christianity. But jihad has never been repudiated or renounced by any Muslim group. It is a staple of the Islamic faith. And it was September 11th, 1683, when the Muslims were turned back from the gates of Vienna. And I don't think that Osama bin Laden chose his date by accident.
Say that again. September 11th, 2001 had an historic precedent. What was that date?
September 11th, 1683 was the high water mark of Islamic expansion into Europe. On that day, they were defeated at the gates of Vienna, and the jihad was turned back for a while. But the jihad, as I say, it never ended. It was simply...
What about fellas like James Zogby of the Arab American Institute? Why are they so unwilling to give any Americans of the non-Muslim persuasion any comfort? Why is he constantly taking the attack approach? What do you think about that?
Well, I don't know about Zogby in particular, but I know that George Bush, of course, he wants to say that Islam is a religion of peace because he doesn't want to have a war with the whole Islamic world. The problem is that if he doesn't look at Islam realistically, he might end up with one and not be prepared for it.
Mm-hmm. In America, what is the threat, in your opinion, from the Islamic community? Would you give it a red, an orange, or a pink? I'm serious. Is there a real threat, or is it an imagined threat? Is it something that isn't? Here's the question I really want to ask that I've been sort of hesitant to ask. Many people are very worried about what goes on inside the mosques. And then we see an imam was arrested in Portland the other day as he was about to flee the country. He was a top guy in that Portland mosque. He was fleeing the country. They found an explosives residue on his luggage, things of that nature. Are they really breeding grounds for jihad?
No doubt about it. I mean, it's right in the Koran. You want to be a good Muslim, you want to be a serious Muslim, then you have to be a jihad warrior. And so in the mosques, I mean, look, the FBI, you don't need me to tell you, the FBI is closing mosques. Finally, they have the power.
Closing mosques? Really? Are you kidding me? They're doing that without any outcry from Chuck Schumer? How are they getting away with it?
No, I don't mean, okay. I mean they're going in and they're finding subversive activity going on in the mosques. They weren't even...
Oh, my goodness, they're actually doing that. I didn't think that they were able to do that with the multicultural stranglehold on our society.
It's something under the new laws that just passed in the wake of September 11th. They're able to go into the mosques now, and they're finding what they thought they would find.
Well, you know, for about 9 months before the law was passed, I've been screaming for exactly that activity, not because I'm so brilliant, but because it makes common sense. If I were a sleeper hiding in America waiting to perform an act of terror, where would I hide? I'll give anyone listening to this show 3 choices. In a synagogue, in a church, or in a mosque. I mean, it's common sense. That's where you'd hide, isn't it? Where you least stand out. Anyway, your book, Islam Unveiled, Disturbing Questions About the World's Fastest Growing Faith, by Robert Spencer. I recommend it not just because you're a nice guy and you like the show. It's very well done. It's succinct, and it spells it out very nicely, Robert. I thank you very much for being with us on the show. It's just that we're going to have the president speak very shortly, and I have to move on.
All right.
Thank you very much, and good luck with your book.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and good night now. Again, in the next hour, we'll have President George Bush's speech. I want to get to as many callers as I can on the savage nation. Just remember what I said, ultra-tolerance is killing us. And the peace movement in this country is not really a peace movement. It is more typically a pacifist movement. A pacifist movement is suicidal in the wrong context, I warn you. Andrew on WABC in New Jersey, welcome to the Savage Nation.
Yeah, to call Islam a religion of peace is the height of historical revisionism. Not only was its founder the one who began spreading the religion by this.
Yeah, but Andrew, we covered all of that. So give me the new point if there is one, please. I don't mean to be rude, but I think we covered the jihad element of Islam. So I'm going to move along because I don't want to just sit here and bash a religion. Again, the last thing I want you to take from this show is that I want you to descend to the same level as the 19 Arab Muslims who slashed the throats of women in front of children and brutally stabbed to death others. I don't want to be consumed by the same hate and rage and prejudice that has destroyed the soul of these Muslims. But I want you to understand that you may have to do more than put a mound of flowers and candy and teddy bears on a memorial site. You may have to recognize that there are those amongst you who don't like your way of life and don't want you to enjoy your way of life. And I'll let it go at that. If you're on the line, stay on the line. I may get to you. I don't know exactly when the president is going to speak. But we will rally around President George W. Bush on the Savage Nation. We're going to put our differences behind us. We're going to listen. I'm not going to comment. We're going to probably blow off all of the ads. You don't have to go to any other station but the Savage Nation station that you are listening to. If we have more time, I will take your calls. If the president's speech ends early, we'll go back to regular programming on the Savage Nation. A day that you shall remember. Be with me. For I shall
How would you like
be
to
here
get your
in
hands
about,
on some of the
let's see,
millions of
7
dollars
minutes.
that are made every day in real estate? Are you looking to generate a large monthly cash flow that can get you out of your dead-end daily routine and into financial freedom? Hi, I'm Carlton Sheets, and many of you know me from my nearly 20 years on television talking about my no down payment system. I've been building my own net worth through real estate without a down payment for over 30 years. And now with my proven step-by-step system, I'm creating a powerful monthly cash flow for people all over the country who wanted to change their lives. I did it. They did it, and now you can too. Stop living from paycheck to paycheck. I'm offering you this opportunity right now today. Call 1-800-705-7733. For just $9.95, the Professional Education Institute will send you my entire step-by-step system for you to review and use for 30 days. This time-tested program can make you wealthy. Call 1-800-705-7733. That's 1-800-705-7733.
WABC, New York City. It's 9 o'clock.
You're listening to live coverage of 9/11. From New York, here's ABC News correspondent Jim Hickey.
President Bush is ending this long and solemn day with an address to the nation momentarily from Ellis Island in New York. Traveling with the president today, my colleague ABC's Ann Compton. Ann, what is this speech going to contain?
This is today looking into tomorrow, a speech to inspire, Jim. I think the president wants to steel the nation for a new reality, and that is that America is a nation at war, and there are challenges ahead. But I think after the intense grief of today, this is a chance to focus people on the sunlight tomorrow.
Why Ellis Island, and why was that chosen as the location?
Well, it keeps him close to Lower Manhattan, doesn't it? The New York skyline off to one side. More important than that, it lets the president sit there with the Statue of Liberty as his backdrop, an inspiring visual symbol for the president.
Now, the president is being transported to Ellis Island aboard a boat in very windy and choppy New York Harbor.
And very, very bad weather. His helicopter might have been even more dangerous as he came into Wall Street this afternoon. Very windy here, but the president's out. The only way to get to Ellis Island is indeed by boat.
And the president now is approaching the podium, walking toward the podium with the skyline, the lighted skyline of New York behind him. Here is President George Bush.
Good evening. A long year has passed since enemies attacked our country. We've seen the images so many times they are seared on our souls. And remembering the horror, reliving the anguish, reimagining the terror is hard and painful. For those who lost loved ones, it's been a year of sorrow, of empty places, of newborn children who will never know their fathers here on earth. For members of our military, it's been a year of sacrifice and service far from home. For all Americans, it has been a year of adjustment, of coming to terms with the difficult knowledge that our nation has determined enemies and that we are not invulnerable to their attacks. Yet in the events that have challenged us, we've also seen the character that will deliver us. We've seen the greatness of America in airline passengers who defied their hijackers and ran a plane into the ground to spare the lives of others. We've seen the greatness of America in rescuers who rushed up flights of stairs toward peril. And we continue to see the greatness of America in the care and compassion our citizens show to each other. September the 11th, 2001 will always be a fixed point in the life of America. The loss of so many lives left us